first thing then about cognitive style, can you use any other term which might be useful? And the answer is yes, you could use thinking style, which will do just as well. The interesting thing I found is that people who listen to you very often like to learn a new word or two, so you can offer both, and very often they will pick up the new word and feel that they've done something in addition. But if we then take cognitive style as a start, and we say, okay, what is it? And if you take advice from the greats, in this particular case Kelly, who says that in any good definition there are two items that define it positively and one that says what it isn't. What it is, two things what it is, and one thing what it isn't, and that makes sure that you know where the dividing line is. Which item do you pick which isn't? The one most likely to be confused. So in that case we will have what is and what is not. And then we find the simplest possible way of putting it across. So it is the preferred. And then, sort of almost like an important little aside, stable. Way or manner? I don't know which you prefer. I tend to use both, but put down manner. The manner in which you bring about change. Now, the preferred, stable manner of bringing about change. Now, what is it not? If it's the preferred way of doing, then it is not necessarily behaviour. Notice the correct spelling. In other words, that's what you prefer to do, but that's not always what you will do, because you may have to behave in a way you don't prefer. So can you see the distinction straight away? The second thing is stable. Now, before at the moment we're giving you the general statements. I'm not in a position to be able to prove anything, because before we can prove anything, first of all we have to have a hypothesis or a statement that we need to check, and this is what we're doing. And then two, we need a measure, and we haven't got the measure yet. We should get on to the measure. Once we've got the measure, then we can carry out the tests and the proofs. And so for the moment, just accept that this is how I think it should be, and then later, once we've got the measure, we can say, right, can we test it? Now, stable. How stable is stable? Well, if I anticipate what might be coming, there's a great deal of research looking at what is stable. Stable could mean that if you do it this week, you'll do it next week. If you do it this week in this environment, you'll do it next week in a different environment. But is it weeks? No. We've got months and we've got years. We've got the comparison of a large number of people, a very large number of people, over different ages. And it spreads normally, right? And we'll come to the variations in a moment. How deep is it? Well, how far down have we gotten? We'll be coming to that again. But it wasn't designed, as we said yesterday, for children. It was designed for adults at work. Nevertheless, teachers have taken it to children, and we find that even only the bright, and partly it's the bright because they have to understand the language, so that a bright 13-year-old can just about make out most of the items. Not all, but most. And what we get from them is that it's steady. and it continues to be steady. And we've done it with children at 13 and caught up with them again at 16 and 17 and to get the same results. Right? So, highly stable. We shall come later to examining various suggestions that it in fact has an inherited component. This makes it very stable. Now we've got a problem here. And the problem is that Homo sapiens regards himself, and I use himself generically, the male covers both all elements in this case, the Homo sapiens regards himself as being the most flexible animal on Earth. We can outthink and outmaneuver almost anything else, including one another. So here we have the problem of it's stable, but behavior is flexible. And this has to be explained. I'll come to that in a moment. This is now hoping that we make this immediately interesting to the people who are doing it. So it's the manner of doing it. The manner of doing it. Therefore, one thing it is not is level. And all the research shows, and once again, we'll have to come to it in order to prove it, but all the research shows that these two are not related. If I know the manner in which you go about it, I do not know any of your levels, whatever they are. Your rank, your knowledge, your interests, or anything of that kind. And if I know these, I don't know the manner.